This video is going to teach you how to magnetize your thoughts in a way that it attracts the exact life that you want. Our thoughts are magnetized in a way only through feeling. By feeling, our thoughts become extremely magnetic. And when they're magnetic, they attract even more thoughts. And those collection of thoughts become even more magnetic. It amplifies the magnetic pull of those collection of thoughts. And if you continue to combine thought after thought after thought into a collection of thoughts, into another collection of thoughts, into a series of thought patterns, that magnetic field produced is what will attract the type of life you want, or more specifically, what that feeling implies. So how do we magnetize our thoughts? Well, there's two ways. And the very first way is to capture the feeling of what it would be like if your desire was now yours. What would the feeling be like if you had earned that $20,000 check? What would the feeling be like if you finally moved to Spain? What would the feeling be like if everything in your life was even better than you imagined? See, when you figure out the feeling is the magnetic energy that is magnetizing the thought. To merely think about your goal doesn't do anything because it is not magnetized by the feeling of already having it or accomplishing it. So now that we know that we need to discover the feeling in order to capture that feeling and magnetize the thought, the next thing that you must do is hold your attention on that feeling until that feeling crowds all other ideas out of consciousness. What's amazing about the attention is when it is held exclusively on one sole particular thing, everything else seems to vanish, and it intensifies the thing that it is holding its attention on. See, wherever attention goes, energy flows. It is just like a magnifying glass being held in the sun. If angled in a particular way, it magnifies that sun ray, which by itself doesn't harm anything, but magnifies it into a single point, which produces a fire. Now, what you'll do when you're able to hold your attention steady on that feeling, not only will it magnetize the thoughts that you have regarding that thing, but it will magnify the feeling itself. And if you continue to hold it, honestly, the time that you're looking for is about 10 minutes. And I'm being very serious. If you can hold your attention on the feeling, once you discover it, once you capture it, once you capture the feeling of you already being where you want to be, already having what you want, once you can capture the feeling of it, if you can hold your attention on it for about 10 to 15 minutes, I promise you, you will magnify that feeling in a way it will carry with you throughout the rest of the day. It is truly amazing what happens when you magnetize your thoughts. And magnetizing your thoughts has everything to do with the feeling attached to them. You can magnetize your thoughts in any which way, a negative, positive, or indifferent. Either way will produce a result that is related to that feeling. And I want you to remember this. Everything that feeling implies will be realized. So if you go all the way to the end of exactly what you want, all the way to the end, 5 years out, 10 years out, all the way to the end, the feeling of accomplishing that implies everything else in between has happened. So you don't need to concern yourself with how it will happen, when it will happen, the difficulties involved. You don't need to concern yourself with anything, because the feeling implies that all of that has been overcome. Everything that feeling implies will be realized. My name is Evan. There's a link in the description for our Facebook group, Deep Dive, the manifesting strategy for big thinkers. Definitely go ahead and click that link, join our Facebook group. In that group, I'm going to be teaching you how to discover the emotional meaning driving your desires, how to get really clear on the meaning, because by discovering the meaning, you'll easily be able to discover the feeling, because meaning equals emotion, and emotion is just an interchangeable word for feeling. So you finding the meaning means you can reverse engineer that into an emotional trigger, which is a scene that is very symbolic, that represents the very essence of your goal. Every time you visualize that, it'll produce a tremendous amount of feeling within you. For example, an affirmation that's very symbolic and is an emotional trigger for me is this affirmation right here. My life is even better than I've ever imagined. Now, this might not do anything for somebody else, but it does a lot for me because it means a lot. I've already imagined my life in many different ways to be wonderful. So the thought of even saying my life is even better than I've ever imagined is really mind-blowing and exciting. And it implies everything that I've ever wanted to happen, plus more, has happened, which is incredible. If you want to figure out the deep emotional meaning driving your desires, so you can reverse engineer that and turn that into a trigger, something that can keep you on track, keep you confident, keep you focused, then go ahead, click the link in the description, Deep Dive, the manifesting strategy for big thinkers. My name is Evan Yearwood, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.